and briefly between 2013 and around 2017. So I remember those days we used to write those proposals. Unajua sahi mtu anaweka tu kwa generative AI anachora description haraka ipate job. But for us, we used to structure the paragraph in such a way where you're picking keywords from the job description and then building from there. So it's always fun to see how that has evolved. But why also some of the key, the fundamental things that you've talked about still carry through to where we are today.
Iggy, unaionaje?
With the power that content creators have, because you influence. Bobby atakuja aseme hii Coca-Cola hapa. Mimi kesho naenda kubuy Coca-Cola.
Meta as a platform has been earning from our own people.
Look, I'm introducing this, but you need that to use this.
Around 2021 after COVID, that is when people are talking a lot about the generative AI things.
Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the lead series. I'm your host for the day, Thomas Ayuaki, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Barack Odhiambo.
And it's a pleasure to have you guys present today. Now, over the last decade or so, we've seen a steady rise of the gig economy in Kenya, with many young people electing to follow that path due to its relatively more accessible nature, flexible work engagement, and room for rapid growth and experience compared to the traditional 8-to-5 environment. Obviously, key to this has been the internet penetration that has significantly grown since 2012, where at this point in time, I think we have the statistics placing it at around 85% of the population being covered by internet service providers. In addition to that, we've also seen skilling models quickly transition from the more traditional classroom environment to a more highly transferable skill approach where we focus on skills that immediately translate to the job or entrepreneurial space. So a key driver of its rapid growth has been internet penetration across the country, which recent reports seem to place it at around 85%. 85% being covered with different service providers, as we've been able to see. This, alongside the change of skilling models that focus on highly transferable skills, the emergence of ICT for development organizations like Acquict, as well as forward-thinking institutions and industry experts, such as our guest today, have been able to change the outlook of the industry that started with around 10 to 12,000 freelancers to now over 1 million people actively working online on a daily basis.
However, this is not to mean that we've already hit the jackpot, because there's a larger population of Kenyans who are still looking forward to thrive in the gig economy. Besides the skill deficit, also there's a lack of job linkages because there's limited opportunities in terms of mentorship. And lastly, there's a larger population who are rendered jobless and they are now unemployed, especially after the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. So obviously then the goal of this particular episode is kind of to unpack what that specific space entails, because again, a lot of people are interested in doing going into the gig economy or doing digital freelancing, but do not necessarily have the tools that they need to be able to succeed within this particular space. So I'm hoping that in this particular episode, as we introduce the guest, we can be able to unpack what that space looks like at the very beginning, what people need to be able to succeed within that particular space, and also just address some of the emerging technologies that are being used to kind of make work a little bit more easier and more efficient for people who are already working online. So I'll let the guest for the day introduce himself, and then we can be able to go into the interview. So welcome. Yeah, you can go ahead.
And thank you so much, and Thomas, and for that. My name is Robert Muita. I'm a gig economy consultant. I have expertise in digital freelancing. I've also been involved in interventions for digital freelancing training, mentorship, and also job market linkages. And I'm glad that I'm here today, and I'm looking forward to an engaging and podcast with your listeners.
Okay. So I wanted us to start at the very beginning, because I realized as I was talking you online, I realized that you have a lot of experience. You've worked in the digital space for a very long, long time. But for the people listening to the podcast, where did this all begin, and how did you get your opportunity to kind of start engaging within that space?
Thank you so much. So my journey started way back in 2013 when I was running and managing an internet a bureau within one of the estates in Nairobi. And within that space, I saw a number of people coming to access the computers that were in the center. And some of them were engaged in online work. So that itself got me curious. And I started searching online about what is this online workspace. Remember, this was in 2013.
Yeah.
This was still a new concept that you could ideally that it was possible for someone to work online from the comfort of a computer that was located remotely and still earn from it. So with that now, I was able to do a bit of research, and I was able to enter into one of the first online communities. That was a Facebook group that was known as Awesome Subscribers in Kenya.
Oh, yeah.
Which what I think the admin was Water Color. These are still the early stages of online work in this country. So with that now, I was able to get additional insights about the space. And coming to 2018, I was able to create an online work profile on a platform known as Upwork. And my journey as a digital freelancer started from there.
In 2018?
In 2018.
Okay.
Wow. That is interesting to note, Robert. And as somebody who had a lot of interest in the gig economy, I'm glad to note that you've been in the space for over 10 years. Incredible. Personally, I always document each and every step that I take as a freelancer. So when you try maybe to reflect 10 years ago, maybe when you're just getting into it, when there are limited tools, to now, when we are now spoiled of choices of tools, can you give us experience on how it was when you're getting started, and now that we now have tools that we can now embrace to improve our productivity and output to the client?
That's a very good question. Rightly said, in 2013, 10 years ago, the tools in the industry within our work were extremely limited. Tools, I'm talking about tools that will help you do your work as a digital freelancer. I'm also talking about online learning resources that can help freelancers upskill themselves in the relevant and freelancing skill sets. Right now, as we speak, 2024, there has been a lot of growth within the industry. We can say that the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, was a catalyst to the growth of the gig economy in this country. There has been a lot of tools that have come up since then when I started my journey, tools that young people in this country, your listeners in the podcast, can be able to learn and upskill themselves and to be able to help them have some gainful employment in this sector.
So I wanted to just expound on that a little bit. You talked about your years of experience, and I know we'll bring up the COVID-19 issue a little bit further in the interview. But in terms of challenges in your first, let's say 18 to 24 months, what are some of the challenges that you faced as a digital freelancer, as an entry-level digital freelancer? And how did that shape your mindset on this, your work moving forward?
That's a very good question, Thomas. I did have a number of challenges when I started out. And one of them I can say was that the availability of learning resources that are out there that could have enabled me to upskill myself within a short time. There wasn't so much information about digital freelancing within the early years. And so some of the challenges I actually got was that I went ahead and started and created an online work profile on the platform, because I saw that is what most people were doing.
Which platform was this?
That was Upwork.
Oh, okay.
Upwork still remains a very credible online work digital freelancing platform. So I went immediately and I created an Upwork platform on it, because that's what I saw many digital freelancers doing at that particular time.
Yeah, definitely.
But one thing I forgot, Thomas, was that just having an online work platform, that is not itself enough for you to be able to gain digital jobs. And also that is a problem that I've seen with the newbie freelancers coming to the industry. You need to have skills. I also realized that digital freelancing is not an academic pursuit. You simply cannot memorize your way into becoming a digital freelancer. If you want to be successful in it, you have to gain the required skills and the competencies to enable you become successful. So the first 18 months, I wasn't getting any gigs. What I realized was that I hadn't created a work portfolio that was repeatable. So those are the challenges I got. And with that now, I went back to the drawing board and I was able to create work portfolios that were relevant to the kind of jobs that I wanted clients to give them to me.
Yeah,
Wonderful. Now, in my mind, as somebody is just getting into freelancing, I've now pictured being successful. I've also pictured creating a remote work profile. Maybe can you try to demystify a little bit what is digital freelancing and what is it not?
Great. That's a very, very good question. There has been a lot of ignorance within the online workspace. A lot of people even listening to the podcast are because of what is out there right now in the mainstream, that online work is a hobby or it is something that you can just, within a day or two, you can basically get the required skill set and you start earning online. That
you
cannot
do
be
it
further.
as a side,
Yes, like a side
hustle. Yeah.
Yes. Online freelancing is work. Online work is work. And basically, online work is focus is on skills and competencies. As I mentioned before, online work or digital freelancing is not an academic pursuit. So you need to have skills and competencies. And gaining skills also takes time. So with the narrative, of course, we have heard that, finya computer and pattern $1. It takes time. That will not work. People need to understand in the country
that's true,
that you need skills and competencies for you to be able to grow as a digital freelancer. So to answer that question, there has been a lot of ignorance and also that misconception that online work is something that you just enter within a couple of days, within a couple of weeks. You have got into that you are basically an expert. That is not true. It needs hard work. It needs someone to push themselves and also gain the relevant skills.
Yeah. Because I'll tell you a funny story. Here in the organization, Acquict, we were actually charged with training the first 10,000 freelancers through the former president, Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, as a Ajira digital program. And I remember those days, unlike the Upwork that we are using today, where I think when you sign up, you're being given around 86, is it 82, 86 connects. During that time, as I'm sure you guys can witness, Upwork had an unlimited number of bids. So we would train people in like a bootcamp sort of environment, then have them start bidding for jobs. And in a day, somebody would bid for around 20 different job opportunities and then come back to you and say, but sijapata, shida iko wapi? And so when you try and diagnose what the problem is, you realize that this guy is using that one sort of, that one proposal that he wrote for all these different job opportunities. So I think, that's something I've seen really, really affecting people, especially guys who have, a small budget and they've decided, okay, let me set up a home office. Let me put the internet connection. Let me activate that. And then maybe I can start earning money within the first 2 to 3 weeks. So it's always a bit disheartening to have that discussion with them, because sometimes they fail to realize that, as you've said, ni kazi.
It's
just
work.
the way
Work.
somebody wakes up at 5 or at 6 to go board a matatu and sit somewhere in an office for 8 hours. I'm assuming you also go through something that's quite similar.
It is
in
true.
terms of input.
Yeah. Let me also add on what you have just mentioned about job and proposals in the digital economy. Because I do also hold some private lessons for digital freelancing training. And one thing I always tell my learners is that do not use canned job proposals. Don't use one proposal to apply for 10, 20, 30 jobs. You need to customize. You need to customize that job proposal to what the client is asking. Okay? So if you do that, and if you follow that tip, then as a digital freelancer, you will get an increase of invites from clients, and of course, you will be able to land more jobs than before.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, these people even have the advantage of generative AI. It's not like, because for me, I think, Barak, I shared this with you. We were among the first group, even for me individually, I started working online briefly between 2013 and around 2017. So I remember those days we used to write those proposals. Unajua sahi mtu anaweka tu kwa generative AI, anachora description haraka ipate job. But for us, we used to structure the paragraph in such a way where you're picking keywords from the job description and then building from there. So it's always fun to see how that has evolved, but why also some of the key, the fundamental things that you've talked about still carry through to where we are today. So as we move forward, I saw on your LinkedIn profile, I stalked you for like a full day straight. I don't know if you saw notifications on your email, but I saw on your LinkedIn profile that you're a digital marketing expert. You provide impactful digital marketing strategies for companies looking to grow online. You're also very experienced in digital freelancing. You're a tutor, a mentor, and a job linkage consultant. So I wanted you to just take some time to explain to us what those particular jobs entail in terms of what do you do within all of these different titles, and then how do you manage your time? Because again, those are a lot of consultancies, by the way.
Thank you so much. Thomas, let me say this, and also to the listeners that are listening to the podcast. I have been extremely fortunate in my digital freelancing journey. I went into the space at a time when online work in this country and around the world was not considered work.
Yeah.
I went into a space whereby, as we rightly say, that online work was initially considered as a hobby. But through my research online, I noticed that the digital economy, more specifically digital freelancing, is a viable alternative to formal employment. So I went online, I did research, I was able to identify my freelancing niche, which is content writing and digital marketing. Yeah, and that came later at my stage within my digital freelancing journey. So my journey, I started as a content writer. I started as a content writer, so I was offering content writing, content development services to clients primarily on the Upwork platform. Then during the pandemic, I noticed that a lot of clients that were reaching out to me were requesting me to write for them content that could convert people to perhaps subscribe to their newsletter, could convert readers that reading their content to buy products and services. So what happened, I noticed that clients were asking content to be written with an end game. And the end game was, we want people to read our content, and then we want to convert them to customers. And that's how now I went into digital marketing. So apart from just content writing, I started offering content marketing. I started offering copywriting, writing content with an end game of helping the clients be able to promote and sell their products online. And also something happened. During the pandemic, a lot of people were laid off jobs. And something interesting happened was that a lot of organizations started to recognize that digital freelancing, remote working, was a viable pathway to be able to equip young people in this country to be able to continue earning a living. So there were a lot of conversations, and I got a lot of calls from organizations reaching out to me to help them create digital freelancing programs that whose focus was to train, mentor, and link up young people in the country with gig work out there. So that's how now it came. It actually gave birth to my consultancy services. So I was able to migrate from just from being a digital freelancer offering services to client, but now that's how I was able now to start offering digital freelancing training, mentorship, and job market linkages. So that is something I'm very fortunate to have been in the space, that I was able to get involved in all the three components of a digital freelancing in the program, that is training, mentorship, and job market linkages. Yeah, the journey has not been easy, but each day is a learning. We are learning. I am learning, and each day, of course, I do garner new insights into the space.
Wow. I think that is great. What is coming out strongly is that having a skill is the baseline to step to the next level. Of course, when you have a skill, you can now use it to explore the various opportunities. And personally, I've been a writer for the longest time possible. I'm also an expert digital marketer. There's a skill that you've really emphasized on, that's basically content writing, which is a key tool in marketing. With that, can you consider writing as a skill that is cutting across? Can you term it maybe a super skill in freelancing?
The answer is yes. And I say yes while being considerant to the fact that we do have AI writing tools that are available.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people, a lot of clients will say, why do we need to hire a content writer? And yet we do have AI writing tools.
Right here.
Yes.
That's the same question I ask from time to time.
There is something a human writer brings on the table.
Sure.
And that is creativity.
Yes.
AI machines will be there. They may replace, and some of us, but of course they say that they not replace our jobs, but they replace people that don't learn how to use AI tools. Content writing, to answer your question, still remains a viable freelancing niche that I could recommend people to pursue and to venture in. But more so than that is that what I could also tell people that want to enter into the content writing space, they need to upskill themselves with digital skills and freelancing tools that are aligned to content writing. So this is what I mean. So apart from just being a content writer that a client will hire you to be able to write content, you need to understand the end game of the client. So which is to write content that is able to convert the readers to purchase their products. That means that as a content writer, you need to upskill yourself in skills such as SEO, search engine optimization. So that, Barack, you are not just writing content for informational purposes. You want to write content that is able to rank on the Google search engines. And for that, you need to upskill yourself and gain competencies in SEO, search engine optimization. On the same breath, I can also add that you also need to upskill yourself and learn about WordPress. Now, most of the clients will tell you to write content. They'll also want you to upload and publish that content on their digital assets. 95% of web content is published on a WordPress run websites.
Yeah.
So it will be good as a content writer to be able to upskill yourself and gain competencies in using WordPress. So content writing, content development still remains extremely viable. But for you to remain relevant in the industry, you need to upskill yourself in the other digital skill sets that are aligned with content writing.
Sure.
Yeah, that's interesting. So given everything that you shared, if somebody was to ask you just in a nutshell, what's unique about the services that you provide out there, whether it's in digital marketing solutions, training, mentorship, or job linkage, what do you bring to the table that's unique or niche down compared to maybe what's out there in the market? What would you say?
Thank you, Thomas. Another good question. What is it that is unique? What is the USP, the unique selling proposition that I give to my clients?
Yeah, because again, before you go ahead, I think that's a question we get many, many times Barak being our lead consultant in digital freelancing training, we always get that question from time to time, how can I be able to niche down and kind of create my own sort of space so that I can be able to succeed? And sometimes it's and you can attest to this, Barak, it's usually a bit difficult to answer them in the way that they want, because for them, they expect us to mainly talk about the aesthetical side of things instead of focusing on how you present even your work, how you communicate about your work moving forward. So how do you do that as a consultant?
And thank you so much. And one of the things that I bring on the table, and the reason why, of course, I get a number of clients reaching out to me on Upwork, is because I was able to upskill myself. I was able to upskill myself in other digital and marketing and segments that were relevant to content writing. So I am not just a content writer. I'm not just a digital marketer. I'm what you call a full stack digital marketer. That means that I have upskilled myself. I have garnered competencies across the digital freelancing niches. That is content marketing, email marketing, media buying. That is having the ability to set up and implement digital campaigns across social media platforms. Also, I've also built competencies in SEO, search engine optimization. That means that when a client comes to me,
it's almost like an end-to-end.
Yeah, they know that this freelancer that they are approaching does not just bring in content development on the table, but this freelancer is well-versed.
Yes, bringing a lot
in the other digital freelancing and etc. So just as Barak has said, the client can see value. The client can see value. That it is not just good just to bring in just one skill set, but it is good to be able to upskill and gain competencies across the different skill sets that are within your digital freelancing. So that is my USP that I bring on the table. And I think that's the reason I've been able to position myself within the digital freelancing niche as a freelancer.
Yeah.
So speaking of niche, I don't know, when I was going through your profile, I noticed that there's a lot that you identify with. Of course, it also applies to me, because this journey, especially when you are a freelancer for the longest time possible, you get to learn each and every time. And with that, you acquire more skills that you can even apply concurrently. So as somebody who is identifying with the consultancy, digital marketing, and also online tutoring, is there a particular skill that you find fulfilling, especially when you are offering?
Yes, there is. I could say SEO, search engine optimization. And this is the reason. A lot of clients that approach someone to write content, and I mentioned before, they have an end game. In most cases, the end game is to be able to direct the readers to their digital assets so that in most cases they can purchase something. That's what SEO does. SEO stands for search engine optimization.
Yeah.
So I was able to upskill myself and gain competencies on the ability to incorporate industry keywords in content that will push readers, that will actually make that content rank on Google search. So just seeing a client coming to me, giving me work that involves content writing, and then I'm able to optimize that content to be able to push readers to buy their products, which now the end result is that I am able to help that client generate revenue. And with that revenue, they're able to pay their bills and they're able to grow their company. That provides me satisfaction. So that's the first thing within the space of my freelancing niche. The other item that gives me fulfillment in the space is also training. The ability to train people, the ability to impact with skills, the ability to direct newbie freelancers in the country, people entering into the digital space, people that out there have, maybe they were told a lot of information about concerning online that was not true, that was not factual. Me being in a position to direct them to the right path. And then at the end of the day, they are able to have a consistent and consistent and a meaningful way of generating income for themselves and for their families. That itself also is something that provides fulfillment to me.
Yeah, that's I think, and that's what's most appealing, I think, about the work that you've done, because again, being a community that's basically growing in real time, getting industry experts and professionals such as yourself and Barack who can be able to take time and give back within reason, obviously, because again, some of these resources, I'm sure for you to get to where you are, you had to make significant investments to be able to kind of elevate yourself to that particular point and then figure out what you can be able to give back to the community. So for kudos for that.
Thank you.
I know you create a lot of impact within that particular space. But on this next one, I wanted to specifically focus on your digital marketing skill set. So how would you guide, some of your participants or students or businesses that you engage with? How would you guide them on issues to do with brand growth? Because there's always this misconception that for you to grow a brand, there's a specific blueprint you have to follow and nothing else. So how do you go about showing the other side of brand growth in terms of, elevating the different strategies and working with them to be able to grow their company or business to whatever level they want to reach?
And first and foremost, and even before I answer your question, let's also look into and ask ourselves, what is a brand?
Mm-hmm.
What is a brand?
Yeah.
So a brand is what that says who you are.
Mm-hmm.
It is what people know you with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So a brand, of course, at the very end of the tale, is that a brand, you want your brand to speak positively about what you do, about the products you have, the services, the kind of activities that you do. You want your personal brand to position you as someone, first of all, as someone as authority. So, but then you have to be speaking to the right target market also. So the first thing I tell companies and people enter into the digital space when it comes to brand growth, they need to identify who is their target audience. Mm-hmm. Because once you do that now, you are able to brand yourself. Branding in terms of you are able to come up with the right messaging. Mm-hmm. You are able to project yourself effectively towards that target audience, because you can have a brand, and if you are not able to relay what is it that you do to a certain audience, then you may not be able to achieve your objectives. Mm-hmm. So the first thing when it comes to brand growth is to identify who is your target audience. Mm-hmm. Then once you have identified that, the second stage is to come up with appropriate messaging items, targeting that target audience. Mm-hmm. Of course, that is a whole topic when it comes to brand growth and of course, personal branding. But in a nutshell, I think the first thing what I can say is that identify your target audience, and then you come up with appropriate brand messaging that is targeting that audience, so that you'll be able to relay that information to them effectively.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, Barack, I wanted to just speak a little bit, because I think this is something that I'm very passionate about. What would you say to companies or individuals who are quick to put marketing dollars into growing that brand? I know you've talked about a process that they have to undergo to be able to get to a point where they know what it is they're communicating and who they're targeting with that communication. But what would you advise on people who are quick to put marketing dollars in what it is they want to communicate without necessarily going through those steps that you've identified?
I could tell them that if they are looking for an ROI, a return on investment, they should not be quick to put those marketing dollars to any outfit, to any company that tells them that we do digital marketing. it would be great for them to do a background check and to see the kind of digital marketing campaigns that outfit that comes to them and tells them that we are able to do A, B, C, and D when it comes to digital marketing. Let them have a portfolio. Request to see their portfolio, request to see the metrics that if they were able to develop and implement a certain digital marketing strategy, do they have results that they can provide you that will validate their claims on it? So to answer you, those companies should not just be quick to, of course, shower those guys with the marketing dollars. Let them ask the hard questions. Let those digital marketing companies be able to provide portfolios that are relevant to the kind of campaigns that the client wants to develop and, of course, implement in the market.
Yeah, because typically what happens is, even for us, I think we learned a lot in real time that, look, first of all, you can't meet with a digital marketing consultant and in one meeting already move towards now them working or creating awareness about a product or service that you have. So I've realized that in time you kind of have to see, first of all, whether they buy into what it is you're trying to.
It takes time. I also tell the companies that digital marketing, it is not a one-off thing. It is a journey. It's a process. It takes time. And for them to see results, at least even for most campaigns, at least 3 months plus, before at least they can have tangible results. It takes time. If you are going to implement a digital marketing strategy like SEO, search engine optimizations take time. It takes time before the content is sieved through the Google algorithm for it to rank on the Google SERPs. That is a search engine results pages. It takes time. So it's a process. And I think the companies have to be patient.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing up the aspect of a target audience. I always tell my digital marketing student that the basis of success in digital marketing, whenever you take a digital marketing function, you must understand your target audience. It's the root of success in marketing. Now, there's a difference between a one-on-one target audience. Let's say I want to sell a product to our engineer here. And also maybe I also want to talk to an online consumer. Is there a difference between an online consumer and a one-on-one clientele or a client?
The consumer can be the same, but the strategies have to be different because they are in different spaces. So there is a customer that is online.
Yes.
The customer is they're primarily on the digital platforms.
Yes.
And the other consumer is on offline platforms. And of course, that's a traditional one. The consumer could be the same, but then you need to develop and implement appropriate digital marketing strategies, even if the same consumer, but you have to take into consideration the fact that they're in different platforms. There's one that is offline. So that one, you may tend to use the traditional way of using digital marketing strategies to be able to convert them. And the one, of course, that is online space, then I could advise that you can use the digital marketing strategies that are geared towards converting those individuals that are primarily working on the digital platforms.
Okay. And so for the physical consumer, how much value do you place on showmanship, for example?
And showmanship
from the point of view, so if I have a product, there's always an element of, so do I want to go overboard with the way that, how you can introduce a product for the first time?
True.
So how much value do you place on showmanship, or to even simplify this, how much percentage of your talk space should be about the product and your ability to market it as an individual?
That's a good question. That's a very lovely question. People buy based on emotions.
It's true.
People buy a product based on what that product makes them feel, not the features. So a lot of digital companies spend a lot of time explaining about the product features, specifications. The consumer doesn't want to listen to that. No. They want you to tell them what it makes them feel. So they will buy based on what it makes them feel. Because if it is the issue of features, there are other competing products and services within the same space that they can possibly go to. People buy based on emotions, not on product specifications. Now, to answer your question, in terms of showmanship, in terms of person explaining about the product features, that should be less. And more about what is it, what is the value, what are the benefits that product gives to you. If a digital marketing agency or a consultancy is able to really hone into that, is able to basically nail on that, they will make some progress. They will gain some traction, and of course, they'll be able to convert many more customers along the way.
Because you see the stuff with smartphones these days. What's unique about the smartphone that you're selling, or the laptop or the PC? Because for me, we are approaching this. Me being very, very passionate about tech, we are approaching this flat line with this technology where, outside of maybe, we were lucky with generative AI and its different models. So you're seeing now phones flatlining on hardware and basically landing on a space where, if it's cameras, yes, they're high-performing cameras, but the variables are not really, a Samsung camera and an iPhone camera, especially some of these flagship phones, are around the same level. So again, the difference is in then how you sell.
It is how you sell.
The experience.
It is also the experience. It is what you put out there. I just take an example, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say a brand, like Apple. I think their slogan is think it differently. Think it differently. So they actually target a market that cares, that feel that I think differently. I don't want to think like the rest of the pack. So because yes, I do understand iPhone has got some features. It's about the messaging. That when you have an iPhone, of course, there's also an issue of class. It's an issue of class, because I've seen a lot of people with iPhones. And iPhone, we are talking about the apps has to be compatible with Mac. So you have an iPhone, but the PC you have is an Android. You cannot synchronize those apps. You must have an app. You must have a Macintosh. Now, most people can't use a Mac. We do have specific people that are geared towards using Mac, and I think most of them are the creatives and the graphic designers. So you have an iPhone, but the rest of the tools are on Android. You cannot synchronize those tools. So I think there has been a lot of showmanship when it comes to marketing for that. People buying devices, but it's really not so much about the features. I think it should be more about how they make them feel. And of course, when you have an iPhone, balance, and of course, I'm an African, I'm Kenyan, I go to an iPhone, I go to a restaurant, I put it on the table. That demonstrates class. So I think it's more of a class thing. If you ask me, it's a class thing, because most of the people you talk to is with some of these high-end phone, they could do with a low-end phone, and they will get their work still done. So that is it. And actually, that is just just based on my experience.
I really like your explanations. You're making it seamlessly simple, and I think that is how to get it right. We also noted that you take active role in public speaking. Personally, I liked your participation in the public speaking about the gig economy, also the other one on the use of AI to enhance productivity and quality. And I really wanted to ask you, especially on behalf of our listeners, is your contribution as a public speaker about the gig economy significant? And personally, according to you, is there value into it?
Yeah, just to provide a little bit more context. Obviously, being in a place that you engage, and the thing people ask is, are you seeing value? Not in terms of what you share. There is value in that, obviously. But in terms of the people receiving it, are you seeing people kind of embrace what it is you're saying and actually integrate it into what they're doing?
That's a good question. And actually, that's a question that also my peers within the digital freelancing space have asked me. Robert, I see you we have seen you appearing on very many panel discussions within the digital freelancing space, within the larger gig economy space. Do you think you bring something on the table? And I tell them, it is important, but more important, it is imperative that the voices of digital freelancers, the voices of industry practitioners in the digital freelancing space are on the table. They must be on the table when discussions about digital freelancing is going on. They must be on the table so that they can provide context under which those conversations are held. Because what I noticed was that, and of course, with a lot of respect to other gig economy the consultants, there has been a upsurge of academic gig economic consultants in the space, where you refer yourself as a gig economic consultant or a gig economy expert based on a couple of books you read in the university. And that's one of the problems that we have had in this country, where we have digital freelance initiatives that have been developed and have been implemented by, of course, with a lot of respect to people who are highly qualified, but unfortunately lack that industry experience. So it is imperative for digital freelancing in the country with actual practical industry experience to be on the table and to participate in those conversations so that we can help the policymakers be able to come up with policies that are effective and are impactful to the intended audience in the country. So, and right now, just also to add on that, and right now, as we have seen of the last couple of events in the country about the Gen Zs who basically are on the streets, have gone on the streets, and most of them don't have jobs.
Yeah, sure.
And job creation within the space, of course, it's a very big conversation going on. And more so digital jobs. You see,
yes,
in the digital jobs. And a lot of policies, a lot of the programs that are being created right now and being implemented, they're actually lacking on the space of job market linkages, where now we are saying that we are training people, we are mentoring digital freelancers, but when it comes to job market linkages, there is a problem. There's a problem because we did not involve the industry practitioners. People like among my peers that have got actual industry experience that can be able to inform these policies, and then they can be able to advise what are the in-demand skills that you are telling them. How do you connect these guys with jobs? Because jobs are there in the digital economy. We don't talk about job creation. We talk about job linkages because we recognize that there are jobs there, but we need to equip the people that we intend to connect them with jobs. We need to equip them with the relevant skills.
Yeah, and I would liken that to, a very simple example of, for example, if you see mangoes high up on a tree, you don't just start, climbing up, thinking that because you've seen it, then it's your right to now, it's within your right or you're entitled to have it. So you ask around to see if there are any climbers who understand that space. Watapatana na nyoka wapi, na kipatikana unakimbia aje. And I think that's the engagement led by Barack that we've always tried to push even with our partners here at Arquict, where for us, any digital freelancing program has to have that ecosystem of you have trainers on one side, you have mentors who can be, in this particular case, industry experts and professionals such as yourself, that are not only guiding with mentorship, but also, sharing insight and knowledge about the job market. Because as you said, the opportunities are there, similar to the mango. The mango is there, you can see it. But how you get to that mango, or in this particular case, that job opportunity, is where I think sometimes we tend to struggle as an organization here. And even more importantly, as some of these public service agencies carrying out digital freelancing programs. Because for Ajira, without highlighting it too much, because I'm seeing Barack is also a bit worried. This is the last time I'll mention them. So the first phase of Ajira, the reason why it worked when we trained 10,000 participants is because we just didn't do it alone. It was this ecosystem of trainers, mentors, and industry experts and professionals who are assisting us with job linking. So you can imagine within a 3-month period, we trained 10,000 people and 70% of them were actually earning online. But I think venye iliendelea sasa serikali ikachukua industry experts were cut out. Then all of a sudden it became this program that, no offense to anybody, it just ended up now just floating on an empty mass. A program that was providing 70%. Those are presidential campaign numbers.
That was impact. That was impact.
It was impact.
And Thomas, because I think as an organization, as Akwit, I know it's big on impact.
Yeah.
It's big on impact. But as you know, when some of these initiatives enter into the political arena, then it's more about numbers now. It's about numbers. And that's why we have thousands and thousands of people that we are saying they have been trained in quotes. In quotes. Thousands and thousands of people have been trained. And then, but we are not seeing these people that have been trained in some of these programs being able to assess the digital jobs that I myself, Robert, and many of my peers see that are available on the platforms. On any given day on Upwork, there were 100,000 jobs, gig jobs, posted on the platforms. Every 24 hours, I've been on the platform full-time for 6 hours. This is something I am talking and have data to prove. And of course, I always ask myself, if we have 100,000 jobs posted every 24 hours on Upwork, and this is on Upwork, there were 50 other platforms. There's Fiverr, there's Storied, there are many. And then we are saying that we have millions of jobless youth. Then we need to have an honest conversation and ask ourselves, and what is it that we really need to do in the space to be able to help, to be able to empower the young people that are very eager to learn, the young people that are very eager to be connected with these jobs. That is a conversation that I am open to having with any organization in this country that is interested.
So Barack, you book some time. Make sure that outside of this podcast, we can formalize that engagement.
And so, there's an example that Thomas have given out about the mango on the tree, and I think it is very relatable based on the challenges that you also talked about earlier. For example, the mango can be on the tree, you can be maybe the snakes, you can fall down when trying to get it. And
or the even specific branches you have to hold a little bit lighter.
When we're relating that to freelancing, do you see any specific topic that should be given a lot of airtime, especially when you're having a conversation, or all of them can be just addressed equally? Especially when you are winding up the public speaking and panel discussions aspect.
That's a very good question. That's a very lovely question. I love your question, Barack. And so what I would like to see is a shift from the emphasis of skills and competencies in TVET, which, as I mentioned before, that the current regime is actually working on. I could love the same zeal to be provided for the academic courses, where academic courses now will no longer be based on just grades, but we kind of have a shift on emphasis of skills and competencies within the academic courses that we offer at the universities. Because as I mentioned before, in digital freelancing, clients will not ask you for the transcript. They will ask you for the skills you have and the competencies. They'll also ask you for a work portfolio, a portfolio of the work that you've been doing. So that moving forward, now when students are learning within the education institutions, the assignments that they do within those institutions now will form part of their portfolios that now they can use and showcase to potential clients once they are done with their academic course. So with that, I believe we'll go in a very big way to reduce unemployment in this country. Because the systems are there. We have experienced digital freelancers in the industry that are willing to stand in the gap and help the country help its young population to be able to garner these jobs.
Yeah. And there's a very critical aspect here that you've mentioned. For me, I think the good thing about developing a portfolio is that it's evidence-based. So what it takes care of is this idea of you've gone for an interview and somewhere within the line of questioning, they're like, okay, can you give us your experience? Where have you worked? What are some of the projects you've engaged with? Because even for me, the moment I finished my campus, I think in 2011, 2012. And so, having a bachelor's degree in IT didn't really do anything for me. It was only until when I said, okay, let me go and attack that Cisco program. Let me do that program on Oracle. Let me do that one on Huawei, AWS, which I did much, much later. That's now what introduced me properly into the market. But even with all of that, the thing that they kept on asking me, hey, okay, so you know how to program using, how to program networks using Cisco devices. Can we see your portfolios? Can you see the work that you've done? To the point where I was like, hey, okay, so do I need to start recording some of the coding sessions that I yeah, because that was, most of them are not even asking for papers. It was a formality. Unaingia interview, unaweka makaratasi, unawapatia, and that's it. It's only, you just give them and then that's it. The rest is about your capabilities, as you've mentioned, and your experience doing that. So I think that's something, because it works well for TVETs.
It does.
And TVETs and colleges. That's why even when you talk of unemployment, I wish they take time to kind of really study rates of employment across all different levels of our learning program. Because watu wa VTCs, by the way, watu wa VTCs and TVETs, hao kazi wanapata. Because I go and learn masonry, I go and learn maybe fashion and design, and within weeks, nishaekwa mahali. Kuna kazi
exactly. The shift there has been a shift, and the digital freelancers, people within the gig economy, I can say that they have been the pace setters. But unfortunately, within the academic institutions, they haven't kept track of the changing trends. Skills and competence. Clients will ask you, what can you do for me? Can you demonstrate that?
Yeah.
And you have just mentioned about a portfolio that is evidence-based. We have moved away from transcript-based to portfolio-based. Potential clients wants to see your previous work and work that is of high quality, that of course can be able to validate your competency levels in whatever you say you can do.
Yeah. I think that's important to take note of. So as we approach the conclusion, I wanted to just get some insights from you based on what you are seeing around the digital freelancing and marketing landscape. What are some of the trends you've taken note of? Things that people need to kind of upskill themselves on and prepare for what the digital freelancing and digital marketing. Can I take that question again? Nimerudia sana. Yeah, thanks. So as we come towards the conclusion of the episode, I just wanted to ask you, what are some of the trends you are seeing, seep into the digital freelancing and marketing space?
That's a good question once again. Let me start with my observations from during and after the pandemic, during and post-pandemic. What the pandemic did was that it brought into light that it was possible for organizations to be able to outsource their work.
Yeah.
So what we saw was that a lot of organizations embraced remote working, where they could get jobs and then they could have their jobs outsourced to freelancers located remotely. And among those jobs in the gig space that have been gaining traction, one of them is the role of virtual assistants, where now companies are looking, can we have digital freelancers that are located remotely to be able to uptake our tasks such as customer support, And those organizations who are mostly within the first world countries will look for skilled and qualified digital freelancers from, in quotes, the third world countries that have got skills and competencies, but they are able to be cost competitive. That an American company is saying that I want to outsource this work to a digital freelancer in Kenya who has the same skills and competencies as someone who is in this US, but that Kenyan, because of the cost of living, they will ask for a lower rate of pay because at the end of the day, it's the bottom line. Most of these companies are answerable to shareholders. So the roles of virtual assistants, those are the areas that I could love our listeners to be able to look into. There's also a lot of talk about AI. Generative AI. And of course, there is a common sense that AI will not replace people, but it will replace people that refuse to incorporate AI tools in their freelancing activities. So that is an area I could love listeners to look into. So you have to identify the AI tools that are relevant in your industry. So if you are within the graphic design freelancing niche, then I could advise you to look at tools such as Mid-Journey. If, of course, you're in the content writing niche, I could advise you to look to upskill and gain competencies in tools like ChatGPT. But now this is a thing, Thomas. A lot of people talk about AI and they talk about ChatGPT.
GPT.
Just knowing it it is not what will put money in your pocket. You have to understand and identify the in-demand work tasks that clients are asking that you can use ChatGPT to work for you. And one of those areas is within content development, which was basically my first initial niche, was creating article outlines. ChatGPT is very, very effective when it comes to creating a structured article outline that you can use now to be able to create a comprehensive article or a blog post, as opposed to using ChatGPT to give you current statistics. It does not give you current statistics because the data in most cases for it is not current. It is usually outdated, but it provides a very good structure in terms of an article outline that you can use now to be able to create a comprehensive article. So those are the areas that I am looking into moving forward, areas of generative AI and VA roles, customer support, email marketing, where companies in the first world countries are looking to outsource most of their work to skilled and qualified digital freelancers in Africa, in Kenya, who will ask for a lower rate of payment, because this is a global space. Companies will always go to where they can get good quality work and, of course, at a reduced labor cost.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it is great that you've emphasized on the aspect of outsourcing. There's an article that I was reading about nearly 60% of businesses trying to transition into the online workspace. So as we monitor the trends and the emerging technologies within the gig economy, can you comfortably say that digital freelancing is the future of work?
Exactly. I can confidently say that digital freelancing is the future of work. Companies globally are looking for cost-effective measures where they can have the same quality but at a lower cost, at a lower labor cost. Organizations have embraced the model of remote working. Organizations have embraced the concept of online work. They now understand that it is possible to outsource your work to remote teams that are not physically located in the same space, and that you will get in return and quality work. So digital freelancing right now, it is a trend. It is a future models of working. We are not going back, and of course, we can thank. That's if there's anything to thank the pandemic for. That it brought into light this space. There is no turning back. This is the future, and of course, I could encourage everybody that is looking into being relevant, remaining relevant in the space, in the workspace, within their career and progression. They should embrace this model of work.
Yeah, I think for me, that makes a lot of sense. I read a very controversial quote from the LinkedIn CEO indicating that I think within the next 15 to 20 years or so, 8 to 5 jobs will be rendered useless. And even though it was it was a hot take kidogo, but to be honest, I'm seeing a world where more and more roles will be outsourced to the digital freelancing space. Not because the skills have become extinct, as you indicated. It's just a question of economically viable solutions to some of the things. Because again, as a country, as an entire globe, we still haven't recovered from the pandemic completely. You still have companies and businesses alike trying to figure out how to sustain some of their monthly or recurrent expenditure. And I think that's what, for me, digital freelancing seems to be providing as a solution. Yeah.
Yeah. The discussion is fulfilling. Personally, I'm getting a lot of insights, and as somebody who has followed you time and time, I think I can comfortably say that your responses are fulfilling. And now, because you are somebody who is very, very competitive in the digital freelancing space, what advice can you give the aspiring freelancers and even some of the experienced freelancers who are already within the industry so that they can as well become competitive as you?
To remain competitive within the digital freelancing space, to remain relevant in the digital freelancing space, I could like to tell them this, and I cannot overemphasize it. Have skills, but not just skills. Have relevant skills that will position you to be over the edge against your peers. Skills. Continue upskilling. Continue working on your work portfolio. Having current projects within your portfolio that are relevant to the jobs that you aspire to apply for. Keep up with the trends. Digital freelancing is a dynamic space. You need to keep up with the trends. You need to know what is working, what is not working, for you to remain relevant in the space.
Yeah, that's wonderful advice. And on that note, would like to thank you for coming in. This has been an amazing learning opportunity even for us. As I shared earlier, personally, I was in a space for a while, immediately after campus, I mean in the first 5 years of my experience as a worker here in Kenya. But iyo motisha, especially once I secured an 8 to 5 job, hiyo motisha ilikuwa imeisha kidogo, but you are giving me vibes.
Thank you.
Nimeanza kupata ka energy kidogo. I think it's something that I'm sure I'll be able to at least create some time and explore, because again, we're living in a country and in a world where dynamism is what's going to dictate success at the end of the day. And so hearing from you and just getting a chance to relook at something that I felt had almost stagnated, because again, my worry was always on saturation, just like with anything else. And now we are at 1 million freelancers, so hata nikirudi nita provide nini. But from what you've said, it's as if the space continues to grow, job opportunities continue to enhance as we move forward. So that's also, it's also nice to hear from you. So just before we go, I wanted you to just shout out your social media handles, hiyo ni muhimu, because I think people need to learn about what it is you do. People need to engage with you directly to see how we can be able to move forward with what it is they're planning. So social media handles, and then we can move from there.
And thank you for that. I am primarily active on LinkedIn. So you just type my name. If you go to the LinkedIn platform, Robert Muita, I'm quite active on it. I post once in a while on Facebook with the same name, Robert Muita. Or alternatively, you can just go to Google. You type my name. My name is search engine optimized. Well, you remember I told you that I do SEO for companies. So the first...
You also do for yourself.
The first, the first evidence is that before I tell the company I do this, I should have proven that my name itself is optimized. So if you go page, on Google, just type Robert Muita, that is Muita. You will see a list of my social media handles that will appear on Google's first page.
Okay. Sawa. How big are you on Facebook? Sisi bado, me, I'm a bit older, so I'm very prominent on Facebook. I was a bit worried that you only post a few times.
No. I do post occasionally, but I've been on Facebook for quite some time. I was one of the early articles of the platform. I think 2008. 2008. Facebook still remains a very good platform to network with people, and also for those listening and they have businesses and they are looking to go into the digital space. Facebook, as you know, is owned by Meta. Meta has got three social media platforms. That is Facebook being one of them. There's Instagram, and then there is WhatsApp. So if a business is using any of Meta's product applications, it's very possible to synchronize them, to synchronize their products and services to be available across those three platforms. So that is a space, and that is a tip I can give the guys that are running businesses or those traditional businesses that are looking to enter into the digital space. They must be within the platforms, even as they look into entering into the newer social media platforms like TikTok, Instagram. Those other Meta products still remain a viable platform.
Thank you. So situache nyuma kindly. Us as Facebook users, we want to make sure that we are in these conversations. Great. Anyway, thank you very much. And for more content or for more episodes around digital freelancing, digital marketing, and other tech-related topics, just follow us on all the social media handles. It's Lead Series Kenya on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. On YouTube, you can also search us with the same title. And yes, it's been a pleasure to have you here. And I'm hoping that you can continue to follow us as we have this discussion moving forward. Asanteni sana. Bye.